Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the February meeting of the Hong Kong Study Circle and Hong Kong Philatelic Society, meeting sponsored by FIAP, the Federation of Inter-Asia Philately. So I'm so glad to see so many of you coming to the meeting. And I think we were going to have a very interesting meetings with several presenters all over the world. And I think we should, without further ado, I think we should start from Nick in Japan to say something. Is it about is it Bank of India? Perfin? Nick?
Yes,
anyway, yes.
It's a very, very small topic. It's about Bank of India, no, Bank de l'Indochine.
Oh, l'Indochine, yes,
BI.
Yes, okay, right. Over to you, Nick.
Excuse my French pronunciation, Philippe.
Over to you.
So, shall I start?
Yes.
Okay. You are sharing, but nothing's there.
Oh, I can see.
How do I get that up big?
Go to view and
it looks big right now to me.
Yeah.
It looks big.
It looks big. It's filling the screen.
Yeah, but I can't see.
But do the presenter on the full screen.
Put it on as a slideshow.
Slideshow, yeah.
It's a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, slideshow. You need a slideshow.
But I don't know how to. If I click it, it's just. But you can see that, can you? Is it big?
Yes, I can see that.
Yes. If you click slideshow, Nick, and then from start, it should show big to you as well.
Oh, so where's that?
At the top. Slideshow at the top. It's currently underlined. I can see.
Oh yes. Go, yeah.
And then
I got it.
Yeah.
There.
Excuse me. I haven't even got the excuse. I've just got up. No, it's a very, very, very small topic. I was wanting to see if anybody had ideas how perfins were produced, but it may be that they're different depending on the company. And this is the Bank de l'Indochine of, I'm going to say it in English, of Indochina B1 perfs. Now, these two blocks seem to show that maybe they took a sheet and they separated it into two panes, and then they took the margins at least off the sides, maybe the top and bottom, and then they concertinaed them. They folded them into a concertina. So as you can see, that's a mirror in the bottom of this $1 block. That's a mirror image. And on the $2 block, it's a mirror image. So that was folded, and whatever they used, the thing used to make the holes went through 6 columns because it was one pane. Unfortunately, I have never seen a wider block, so of three stamps wide, or a horizontal strip of three strips wide. So would you agree that that appears to be a mirror image, i.e. they were perforated, folded, and then the punch went through?
I totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so let's move on. This is just strips, again, showing you that either it could be the bottom of the B could be to the left or the bottom of the B could be to the right, depending on where it was in the concertina. Also, I now think that it was done by one punch. So they were folding the pane into 6. So it was like a concertina of the 6 columns. And then they punched it 10 times, starting from the top. Because if we go back here, although they look quite regular, he must have had a steady hand then, but sometimes they're at an angle, as you can see. And consequently, you get, where is it? This one shows you, again, that looks like it was folded vertically and then punched. Now this is what I was going to look at. That for me, on the $2 pair, looks like a mirror image. So it was folded and they were punched when they were folded into 2. That just shows how sometimes they weren't very accurate. The one on the left, the upright of the B is coinciding with the perforations. The next one, the B is slightly off to the right. And I can't see what the, oh, I can now. The one on the right, the B is nearly missing. Just one, probably this one hole of the B can be seen. And sometimes they were blind punches. Look, it's incomplete. You can see blind holes on there. But now we come to the one on the left. They've done it, it's upright, as opposed to on the side, as it was here. Normally it would be, the punch was at, I'm trying, how would you say that? The punch was put onto it on the long side, whereas that's the short side. But this one, the one in the middle, the $2 in the middle, looks like in this case, it was folded horizontally, not vertically. So sometimes they, instead of concertina into the 6 columns, they concertinaed it into the 10 rows and did the same thing. And the next one is really confusing because they're not mirror images. Displaced. And this one, I've no idea what happened there. The bottom stamp has a bit of the B and the top one has the I. So it just looks like sometimes they actually folded it horizontally, not vertically. And consequently, this $2 one, you're getting the B's opposing. That I don't understand. The pair on the right. Anybody got any ideas?
Peter Pugh, who did one of the books on this, suggested that some of them were folded into quarters. So you got reflections along 2 axes, the horizontal and the vertical. So it might be something related to that.
So the pane was folded into quarters.
Or the block of stamps was folded so that you could get a block of 4 stamps where it was reflected along the horizontal line and the vertical line of perforation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's best thing, Nick, best thing is for you to get a sheet of paper and then fold it into quarters and try to
to emulate that.
emulate that, yeah, and you see what happens.
Okay.
Susan could well be right that they could fold it in quarters. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it looks like they don't really care where as long as they perforate each stamp, they don't care whether it's done this way or that way.
so this middle pair, this vertical pair, that's what Sue is saying, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the middle pair is obviously is folded here, right in the middle.
Yeah. They might not do the whole sheet at the same time. They might just do parts of the sheet at one time and then fold the other bit and push it in.
Yeah, I was just assuming they did it all together because, you know, they
Not
took
necessarily.
pain.
I think it just depends on how big the punch is. You know, they may not perforate the whole sheet. They have the big enough, you know, some kind of a font. Maybe just like the 1981 Jubilee, we have a setting of 12. The little thing that like a wafer, you know.
But however the sheet was folded, it does look like there was only the punch was single. Would you agree? Or
could be.
so
No.
if it was in my case, they were pushing the concertina pane maybe vertically and going gong 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 10 times until they've done the.
Yeah.
Whereas in Sue's idea, which is this seems to prove, then you maybe they just did it in blocks of 4, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not a big.
Oh, it's interesting.
That looks like it was bigger than a block of 4, doesn't it?
Mm.
That they did blocks of 4, but anyway, that's it. It was just a very minor thing. It's just fascinated me for a long time, and I've got pages of this stuff. I got a lot one time. It was just all these BI, but I've never seen the $5, never seen the $10.
Mm. Nick,
I'm
can
sure,
you ask?
I'm sure some of the low values were done.
Nick, I have a bigger block that I am trying to show, and I don't know how to show it. Can you see it?
No.
Well, I've got to stop. I've got to. I'll stop sharing.
First, yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop
Sorry.
sharing.
Okay.
Gone. Yeah.
I got 20.
Wow, that's nice.
Oh, I don't know.
So that's right, left,
So this one, there is no mirroring at all.
right,
It's,
left, right. That's the way I thought it would be done. That,
yes.
that looks like it. If you look at the back,
Yeah, I show you the
do
back.
the vertical perfs look
Hold
like
on.
they've been folded?
Hold on, I'm trying to show you the back. I have the back too. No, there it is.
No.
It's hard to see, isn't it? On my blocks, if you look at the on yours too, it looks like the vertical perfs are showing evidence of folding, but
Yes.
not the horizontal ones.
I think it varies whoever's doing it.
Yeah.
Yes, if you fold it in zigzag, it will work. You
Yeah.
fold it, you fold like this and like this and like this, and then you can do it by one punch.
Yeah. That's a lovely block. I've never seen one larger than 2 stamps wide. And that they did that one quite well, didn't they? That was done very carefully. Philip, could I have a scan of that at some time?
Yes, I will send you the scan. Sure.
Onegaishimasu. Thank you.
Doitashimashite.
Could the sort of ones with that look like the operator was drunk, could they be part sheets or just odd few stamps that they just fed in willy-nilly?
I've thought that it was a pane. I don't know if you remember, George VI was two panes, so it was 120 set, but in 2 panes. They couldn't do it the whole sheet because that interpano gutter would have messed it all up. So I think they took they took a pane, that separated the panes, and then took the side margins off. Or maybe
Yeah,
they
but
didn't need to
some of
take
the-
the
some
side
of the-
margins off, did they?
Maybe some of the ones they had might have been a block of 20,
Yeah, well, yeah.
for example. You know, they went and bought them all from the post office and then used some of them or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Otherwise, I can't imagine how you would get one or two of those examples happening.
it's one of those things, Richard, we probably will never know. Anyway, sorry. I hope that wasn't too
No,
too boring.
it's certainly very interesting. Nick, but have you asked your friend Malcolm Hemsley?
Oh, I don't think he's going to know that sort of detail, but I'll ask
Oh,
him.
he may. He's been
I mean,
collecting for quite some time.
I only have strips of Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, so they don't really show you very much.
I think in principle, it's all the same how they actually perforate the stamps. You know, how they do it. Either they do it one by one, or they have kind of like a setting of so many, and they punch say maybe 12 at a time or 6 at a time or whatever. Anyhow, yeah, great. But can you explain why you've got some partial perforated initials?
Well, if what I'm saying is that they were concertinaed, now basically I should have been punching in the middle, but sometimes it looks, maybe it was a hand punch. I don't know what it was, but sometimes he got it at an angle.
Okay.
Or if it was a sort of like a press, a mechanical thing, maybe the strip of concertina stamps got swiveled to the side, or
All right.
yeah, he probably just had a beer for lunch or something, and then after lunch he got
Or two, yeah.
That's what they do in banks. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Nick. Any more questions from the floor?
I reckon that the ones that look weird, of course, the company would never throw them away like the post office would. They just use them.
It's still obviously
Money.
theirs, isn't
Money.
it? It's still
Money.
obviously theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was the post office, they'd be in the bin.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, and thank
no
you,
more-
Philip, for that nice sharing that beautiful block.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. I think we shall move on to the next presenter, Harmon. You've got something to show us.
As usual, this is a show and you tell.
Yeah.
So I've got just a couple of screens that I'd like you to see. I'm not real sure I know how to do this. Hold on. These 4 stamps have been in my collection for approximately 40 years. I've yet to get any help from anybody to tell me what they are. So if anybody can help me here, I believe that the top left one might be some Cyrillic. I don't read that language, so I don't know what it is. So if anybody's got any ideas, the top
Harmon,
right one.
We're
Yes, sir.
we are not seeing your presentation. We're just seeing your computer.
Okay, so I'm not sure what I'm doing then.
Well, you have to click onto an image.
You have to click on the one you want us to see.
I'm clicking. Okay, let me get out of this and go on to somebody else. Let me figure out what I'm doing. All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Okay. So you come back
All
later, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. No worries. Okay. We'll move on to Susan. You want to do a presentation, or shall
Yes,
I do mine first?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do one since I think Chris Norton's here, so I think he'll be very annoyed that I'm trying to twist his story about Tientsin. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Susan, you start. Since you shared your screen, you might as well start first.
Okay. Right. Hello, everyone. I'm showing a series of postcards, all written by Wally Shane. He was a sailor and worked on the China Navigation Company ship SS Chao. And he posted these cards in places like Canton, Shanghai, Tientsin. They were all sent to a Miss Polly Huitson, who lived in Bootle, which was north of Liverpool. And here we have a picture of his ship, which was on one of the cards that he sent. In the table, I've listed the cards that I know of and the dates that they were sent and where they were posted. And you'll notice they were all posted 1913 to 1915. I'm focusing on the ones posted in Tientsin between 1914 and 1915. There was a very strange usage of the index letter during this period. Index letter A was always used on a Monday, B on a Tuesday, C on a Wednesday, and so on. And then F was reserved for Saturday or Sunday. And it's thought that this system was in use between 1912 and 1922. This is the back of the card I showed with his ship addressed to Miss Huitson. We have a close-up here, which shows index letter F, and it's dated the 2nd of May 1913, which was a Sunday, and it's been endorsed via Siberia. And he's just saying that he hasn't had any letters from Maggie, whoever she is. This one is an index letter A, so it should be a Monday. And there we are, 30th of November 1914 was a Monday. And again, this has not been endorsed by Siberia. He's wishing everyone Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Another letter A, so it should be a Monday. And April the 5th, 1915, yes, that was a Monday. And it's Easter. He's working as usual. This time we're moving on to B. So B is a Tuesday. We have B, May the 12th, 1914, which was a Tuesday. And he's off to the races tomorrow. He wasn't much of a correspondent. This has no message at all. Index letter B, a Tuesday, 2nd of June, 1914. Seeing there was no message, he could have franked it 2 cents for the printed papers rate. And again, it's not endorsed by Siberia. This one has gone via Shanghai. Index letter C, and therefore a Wednesday. We're now on to the beginning of the First World War. And at this period, I believe, the Trans-Siberian Railway was closed. So it would automatically have gone south. And there's the picture. He's obviously called it Way Highway, and that's the British Fleet import. This one, a letter D, is going to be Thursday, September the 17th, 1914. And he has endorsed it via Siberia. I believe that in the Government Gazette for 1914, it said that although the service was entirely suspended in August, it was reopened less than a month later. So I presume he has learnt that it is open, and that's why he has endorsed it. And another postcard from Way High Way. Another one without the message, and this time it's a letter E, which takes us on to Friday, 17th of April, 1914. And again, he could have sent it for 2 cents. Now moving on. This is a bit more indistinct. It looks like it could be an E or an F, but the date is clear, 27th of June, 1914, so it would have been a Saturday. And the weather's just getting hot. This one, he's endorsed 6 cents. Now, as far as I know, there wasn't a 6 cents. I think perhaps he worked out if he had another 2 1 cents, he couldn't fit them on the card, or perhaps he'd just run out of 1 cents and put the 4 cents on. It is a letter F. And this one was a Sunday. So we've got all the days of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and back to Sunday. And it was endorsed via Siberian Rail. This also says he's still waiting for Maggie. It's posted the same time as one of the other cards. This lists those that I've shown, the dates, and whether they were endorsed via Siberia or not. And that's the one that was sent via Shanghai. Does anyone know why on some of these occasions he would not bothered putting via Siberia? Was there a reason why they could not be sent that way? Would they automatically have been sent via Siberia anyway? No. It seems rather strange that some are endorsed and some not.
Susan, sorry, I somewhere in all this mess here, I have all the Shanghai abstracts from the Shanghai newspapers for this period. So I can send them to you.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
I think there were 2, if I remember correctly, there were 2 factors involved around about that time. Of course, there was the major mobilization of Russian troops in 1914. There was also the Russian Revolution starting up, and they sent mail by Siberia if you told them that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then the post office made its own mind up, and quite often they were sent via Canada or America. Mm. So
yeah,
let me see what I've got and I'll send it to you.
Right, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, very good, Susan. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I mean, that's really a very beautiful. I mean, you're matching the index letters with the days of the week. Is that constant? I mean, does it throughout the lifetime of the Tientsin, the Tientsin type B c.d.s?
Through to 22. There was an article, an appendix in Hong Kong Study Circle newsletter many years ago. A full article was done on this because there were different periods of usage.
I vaguely remember. Long time ago that was.
A long time ago, yes.
Really remember that was is it?
But I've remembered it because I was so delighted to get all those cards showing all the different days of the week.
Yeah. Because I mean, you could actually work out the day of the week, so it actually matches quite well with the index letters, right?
Yes.
I never tried it because I mean now it's easy to work out the day of the week. Yeah.
During that period, everyone I've come across fits the pattern.
Yeah, excellent. Right.
Why they did it, I don't know.
No, there's another interesting thing about Tientsin is that I'm sure you know there are more than the GPO sent about four different Tientsin c.d.s to the Tientsin post office in 1907. So they probably, because I mean the strikes that you've shown us were a bit worn. Obviously the date stamps was a bit worn. It's probably quite difficult to tell which subtype it is. But I'm just wondering whether actually they'll fit, say maybe index A to subtype 1, and index B to subtype 2, index C to subtype 3, etc. And also I wonder why they need so many c.d.s. As you know, the Tientsin, they have a lot of competition with other post offices. You've got the American, well, American comes very late, but you know, the French especially, you know, have a lot of letters to Tientsin. And the Germans, Italian, they have stamp, you know, they have a stamp overprinted Tientsin. So I think you know, the British are really, you know, you can't be really that busy. So I mean, why did Tientsin actually deserve 4 c.d.s, whereas other ports, you know, only 1 or 2?
Yeah,
that's another interesting thing. Yeah,
a lot of the mail was for Peking, though, wasn't it?
Mm.
At the time, because Tientsin was the river port for it.
Yeah, well, it's a gateway to Peking. Yeah, it's a very, very important city. So
Susan, I just looked at my files, and I think all your covers are around about April, May 14. Is that right?
There's a lot around that period, yes.
Well,
During
that period, there wasn't any problem with Siberian.
No.
And they started in February 1914. They started sending from Shanghai through the Pukow Railway, which goes through Tientsin. So I'm not quite sure why they would do that. Later on in 1914 was the problem I was referring to earlier.
Take the trains.
It just struck me very odd. I mean, I could understand it after the war started, but just, you know, that period before, it just struck me as being very strange.
I'll look further, but just thought I'd let you know.
Right, thanks.
good. Right, thank you. Yes, thank you, Susan. Any more questions?
By the way, I have looked at the Hong Kong Study Circle website. There is a paper published by Chris Norton talking about Tientsin BPO day stamp. He quoted the saying of Aston and etc. Concerning about the arrangement of the index letter relationship with the day of the week. As just Susan saying that A for Monday, Tuesday for B for Tuesday, C for Wednesday, etc. Okay. Responding to Andrew's question, that is it applicable throughout the whole period of the Tientsin c.d.s? I'm wondering, because I've also test checked for several stamps, off-cover stamps I have, and found that it may not be the case. Yeah, it may not be the case. Therefore, maybe I share my screen at that moment in time to have a look. Okay.
Right. Okay. Good.
Let me see the things where it is. Yes. Can you see? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. This one is 1910, December 3rd. It is in Index B. When I searched the calendar and found that it is a Saturday. And this one is an Index D with a variety of a reverse. And it is in Index D. It's 07 July 30. It is a Tuesday. And June 16, 09, it is a Wednesday. These two block, okay, this one, index A is a Friday. Therefore, I'm thinking about, I said, coincidentally, or that pattern for A to F representing Monday to Saturday or else is applicable to a particular period.
Probably,
Charles, Charles, there were 3 different periods of usage, as far as I know.
Okay.
There was a period 1, which was 1907 to 1911. And in that period, they used the 6 in a similar way, but they didn't have F for Saturday and Sunday. So they'd go A Monday, B Tuesday, and so on. And then after F on Saturday, they went to A on Sunday. So each following rotation, the A was on a day earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, and it works. I've tried it.
Oh, it looks like
and then there was a. It took me a long time, I tell you. Then period 2 was 1911 to 1912.
Yeah.
And the person who'd done that didn't find any pattern at all.
Okay.
So it's only the pattern that I showed is period 3, which was from 5th of November 1912 right to the end, November 22.
Yeah.
Susan, I would like to have your information if you can send me by email. I think we have the email correspondence before, right?
Yeah, I'll.
Later, not now. It's okay.
Not now. No, I'm just making a note.
Because
As you get older, your memory gets worse.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No problem. Therefore, I think it is still a mystery for this interesting topic raised by Aston at the moment of time and quoted by Chris Norton. And therefore, I think it is still a subject to explore more. Yeah. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Sue. Yeah.
Way of entertaining yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since you are on Tientsin at the moment, I like to show you something which is more like Chris Norton's research revisited. I don't know. I'm sure that Charles just mentioned that a paper written by Chris. I don't know how many, some time ago, about Tientsin. And I think my presentation is just about the first c.d.s of Tientsin. Let me see. Right there, where we go. Let me see. Okay. Now let me close that. All right. Can you see? Right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Good. Okay. So my little presentation is about the first postal markings of the Tientsin, while Sue has done the second one, which is actually, in fact, Chris has actually called it third. But now just a brief history. I'm sure you know where Tientsin is. Nowadays it's called Tianjin or Tianzhen in Cantonese. It's a coastal town in North China. You can see it here. And this area is called Bohai, which is or they used to be called the Gulf of Chile or Pechili. Okay, so this is the sea there, and it all started with the Second Opium War, which was sparked off by the Arrow incident of 1856 between the Chinese, British, and the French forces. and because of they made use, okay, we could well be an excuse or something, that they started to attack Tientsin, and accumulating in signing of Treaty of Tientsin in June 1856 and ratified in 1860 by the emperor. And the result of the treaty is that they opened up Tientsin to foreign trade, and not only to the British, to the French, but including other countries, foreign countries like Japan, Russia, Germany, and even some, say like the Belgium and Austro-Hungarian. Okay, all of you know that this area, there was a Boxer uprising in June 1900, and there was these foreign settlements which was besieged by the Boxers, so-called Boxers, and then accumulating in the invasion of the 8 Nations Allied Forces. So after the war, and of course, and they continue to have the settlements and so-called foreign concessions, and also some military forces. You know, the French have some regiments there, and British have troops there stationed in Tientsin. And then all these foreign settlements have their own shops, trading houses, and also postal agency. And as well, the British are quite well known. Obviously, we are talking about only the British here, but you've got the French, the German, Japanese, US, and in Russia have a postal agency in their own concession. Interestingly, the sea actually got frozen in the winter. So actually, in the summer, you could actually go by a sea route, go down to Shanghai, but in the winter, when that's totally frozen, it has got to go by land route. Right, so British Postal Agency, we're going to talk about British Postal Agency in Tientsin. See, Webb, I'm sure everybody read it. I mean, Webb mentioned that a packet agency was set up as early as 1882, but was closed in 1890 due to lack of business. It was reopened on 1st of October 1906. Nobody knows why, but obviously, you know, you've got a lot of competition, the British agency, postal agency in Tientsin, with the other foreign post offices, especially the French, you know, with a lot of mail from the French Tientsin post offices, and of course they have little sort of treaties with the Russian, you know, when the Siberian Railway opened, so that they could actually transmit mail via Siberia instead of by the sea route. But okay, so the first postal marking, actually, it was not until a later date that actually somebody actually discovered this single ring, it looks like a rubber hand stamp, which Chris Norton described in his paper. And Proud actually mentioned it. It's called, he named it Proud D1, the type 1. And it is a 24 millimeters c.d.s with the wording BPO Tientsin in 2 lines. And then there's a date stamp, you know, like a rubber chop, was a rubber chop. It seems likely that this stamp was only in use during the first week of October. And then here, I think Norton illustrated the stamp with the 1st October date. And then this is the 3rd of October, which according to him is the last date. And this is obviously the one actually before the so-called Webb type A, which is a double ring steel c.d.s became available. It was used only for a few days. Some people wonder whether this is actually not a postal, but a fiscal cancel. But anyway, with the discovery of a bunch of stuff on eBay, I think it was some dealer listed on eBay, and someone obviously bought it, and then he entered it in the Wild Cup in July 2016, and you can actually see all the examples in the journal. And this is actually from the journal 378, and then you see he's got this was the original find with the covers from the Herzbrunner and Company Tientsin, which is quite close to the obviously in the in the quite close to the post office. And this is obviously philatelic, obviously. So it appears that actually he obtained the can. So the person working in the company knew that there was a post office opening on the 1st of October, and then he went in there and obtained some souvenir or covers. And so there's actually, this is the one I'm showing is a 10 cent, and it's also the 30 cents and the 50 cents King Edward stamp cover, the 3 covers. And then also there's some of these, which are from a different, but also the 1st of October, you can see the 1st of October. Okay, so that's before they have the double ring hand stamp deliverer, which is now becomes the second postal marking. Is a 25 millimeters by 16 millimeter double ring c.d.s. So Webb called Webb type A, obviously. So Webb actually pointed out that there are 2 subtypes with a 3-letter month slug and a 2-letter month slug. However, he did not say were they actually made locally or sent from GPO London. Now, I assure you there's no record in the London proof book, but it doesn't mean that they are not sent from London, because as you know, and I'm sure Richard knows very well, that there are pages of the proof book missing. So they could have been sent from London, but equally from the rather crude and I think that the metal was quite soft because they were damaged quite early, only in use for a few months. And then you can see that there are a lot of damages to it. So it wasn't made of very good steel, so they could have been made locally. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Chinese are capable of making such chops. And obviously, Proud, well, not only Proud, but Webb actually didn't say how many date stamps were supplied to Tientsin. And it could have been more than 1 c.d.s, or just 1 c.d.s, but with a different stage of wear. And does the month slug variation occurs on the same, or if there's more than 1 c.d.s occur on different c.d.s? Anyway, we take a look. Now, this is an illustration in Chris' article. Okay, it's a pretty early date because this Webb type A is recorded from the October, 6th of October, 1906 to about March 1907, when the type B, the single ring c.d.s, replaced it. So it was only for a few months it was in use. And Chris actually find it a bit disturbing that Proud actually said 6th of October. This star actually indicated that Proud actually did not see the actual example. It was a report to Proud. So Webb actually quoted the 7th of October, 1906, and obviously Schoenfeld is actually copying from Webb. But I like to. I mean, if anybody has got any early dates, particularly 6 or even earlier, just show us an example. But obviously, as you see that with the previous single rubber hand stamp, they quoted the date of use only 3 days, 1st October to 3rd October. So I mean, what about 4th, 5th? So it could well exist anyhow. So the latest recorded date is that the March 10th, and Chris was a bit disturbed about the late date of March the 20th, because by that time the single ring type B was already in use, so that there shouldn't really be a double usage of the c.d.s. Anyway, okay, so now Webb actually mentioned there are 2 types, maybe from the same c.d.s or maybe from different c.d.s. He didn't mention, but the 2 types is called A1 and A2. Now A2 is actually not that there's any different that he mentioned, but he said is only a double letter month, okay, instead of a 3-letter month. So there's double letter month, okay. So he recorded that I've never actually seen any of these, but he said it was only more than a handful known. It's not that many, maybe less than 10 or 20 known of these c.d.s with a double letter, and they recorded the earliest date being the October. I don't know, maybe how would it be, OC or something like that. Never seen. March is more common, relatively more common with the MR, and there's a February, and I'll come back to that later. Okay, so this is definitely an MR. I mean, it's definitely it's a double letter month. Right.
Andrew?
Yes, I know you'll comment on that. Yeah, go on.
Well, just want to show I have a new latest record date of March 11.
Okay, right, okay, fair enough, yes. So this is maybe the April date is a bit dubious then. I don't know. Schoenfeld actually had this date quoted, the 3rd of April, but that is overlapping with the obviously overlapping with the web type B. So, I don't know where he got that from. Maybe somebody had the example, or maybe it was misread. I don't know. Anyhow, anyway, we go to you go to my article. Actually, I wrote an article in Hong Kong Philatelic Society Journal 8, which was it was a very old article, 2004, and I actually listed some salient features of the 3 subtypes, which I managed to find. The challenges of the study are, I mean, the one is the quality of the strikes, because the quality of the strikes were often bad, particularly strikes after about December 1906. They're often over ink. I mean, it must be the ink that they use, like sort of too thick, and it's really quite messy. You don't get very clean strikes like some other ports. And then of course the study was additionally hampered by the lack of examples of complete strikes, clean and early strikes, particularly covers and postcards are not in abundance. Even now, so many years, more than a decade later, you still don't find a lot of examples of the c.d.s on actual covers or postcards, because it was only used for a few months. But anyway, what I did at that time was I actually measured several things: the length of the sidebars, the level of the left and right sidebar with the date, the size or loop of the P of British Post Office below, the shape of the S in Tientsin, which is quite different, but it could have been due to damage. I don't know, but I'll show you something, and also the position of the index letter A. Okay, now, well, this one I call it subtype 1. Well, thanks to some great examples from John, Mr. John Tang. He has a marvelous collection of these the c.d.s on postcards. Actually, you can actually see that this is actually his example. It's much better than mine. Mine's not so good. But anyway, you can see actually the sidebars. If you measure it, it's actually 7.5 millimeter. Okay, the sidebar, the length of the millimeter. Okay, and then the left and right sidebars are equal in height, almost equal, not almost equal in height. If you draw a line there between that, it's almost equal. And the loop or the P is fairly small, and the S here, not shown too well here, but it's just obscured by the perf. But on this one, you can see it's actually quite symmetrical, the S. And then the most important thing is actually the apex of index letter A is 6 millimeter from the rim. So if you actually measure, well, not the top, not the bottom, but say maybe in between the outer circle, and if you measure that, and that distance is 6 meters, so it's got a high index A. Right now, the problem is you can see that by January 1907, there are already some damages to the c.d.s and quite a lot of over inking. If you compare that strike, that's January But if you compare some 06 strikes, which is quite clean, but it must be made of some not very durable steel or metal. But anyhow, so sometimes it makes very difficult to measure. But anyway, what I did was I just measured the tip of the A and in the middle of the line, because this is often too thick. I mean, so if you measure that, that's about 6 millimeters. All right. So we jumped on to type 2. Now type 2 is if you draw a line like this, you can actually see that the sidebars are different. The left one is slightly taller than the right, and it's also slightly thicker as well as shorter. It's only about 7 millimeters instead of 7.5. The loop of the P is even smaller. And also the S is quite interesting. It's actually pointing downwards like a hook. And then of course the S is asymmetrical, the top being smaller than the bottom. And then if you measure the index letter, the A is actually 6.5. So it's actually this, the A is slightly lower than the previous type. So you can see that this is actually a strike on the postcard, whereas this is on the stamp. Okay, you can see it exactly. If you look at S, it's the same. Okay, although but you see that now I can see your problem if it's an incomplete piece, you can't really compare. You need to have a strike like this so you can actually measure. But this one, that's half cut off, so you can't really measure this whether to tell which one is taller than the other. But anyhow, that is the date. Well, that's my date. It could, you probably could have found something earlier. So anyhow, so okay, we come to the third type. And thanks again to John. And then you can see that where the sidebars are the length of the sidebars are the same. There's 7 millimeters than before. The difference here is that the right bar is tall. It's taller than the left, and then you get the P is more of a square shape. Okay, and then the S has a funny. It's actually is pointing outwards, and then later on, when more ink accumulated, it becomes a big blob, like a big head S. And then the index letter A is it's about 6.5. You measure this in the middle of the line. All right.
These are the postal agents at Tientsin.
Yeah.
So at the beginning.
Okay, I'll come back.
All right, I'll come back. Sorry, there was a problem with the yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry.
Are you doing the presentation already, knowing your signal is very weak at the
it must be very weak because of there's a strong wind outside. Yeah.
No, maybe your kids is playing around with a computer game, therefore
no, they've gone to sleep. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Just to cut the long story short, I mean, so these are the 3 types, and you can probably see it in the replay. So this one is well, Webb actually mentioned about the use during the Great War, and Chris Norton actually mentioned this about they have the wrong. They actually transpose the year and the day on the different part. You see, this is the 1912. With the 06, it should be 06, but they put the 06 there and the 12 at the bottom. This is 13 with the 06, right? Okay.
Your signal is the weak again.
Yeah, okay. Right, can you hear me? Am I back again?
Yes,
okay.
Already okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this actually, Ming Zhang's forgery book actually illustrated a similar card to the same correspondent to Wiesbaden, but there's a difference. This is another card from the same correspondence, and he called that a forgery with a big head, which is a subtype 3. But obviously this cannot be a forgery because the forger has to forge the Wiesbaden arrival as well as the Shanghai BPO, which I don't think they look forged to me at all. Anyhow, but this is the actual forgery shown by Chris. Right, anyhow. So the last slide, which is the type B, I'm just showing that the 4 of them, c.d.s, 33 millimeter c.d.s, were sent out from London on 11th January 1907. It's a very famous page with lots of other lots of other tripod c.d.s sent out on the same day. And then actually show 4 quite distinguishable strikes, 3 fitted with index C and 1 fitted with index A. So you can see that the size of the O, there are slight differences anyway. So that's why when Susan actually talked about her c.d.s with the different index letters, I just wonder whether they were fixed or they change every day. So anyway, that's my presentation, and I'm sure that Charles will have a lot to comment. But anyway, or maybe even Chris would have some comment on the different subtypes. It's actually it's as low rubbish, and they were showing different where nice. Or what. Anyhow, so but anyway, there might be 4 because I mean you think about it, 4 c.d.s replaced with 4. So I don't know. Anyway, that's my hypothesis. Anyhow, okay. So I finished. I finished now. So was it Richard? You were doing your talk before me.
Shall I show you that thing again?
Of course.
The people in that company who were in charge of postal affairs. You can see there, and then there were some others, which were Chinese clerks employed there. That's it.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, fascinating. Any questions?
Andrew?
Yes?
Would
Yes,
like
Charles?
to have a presentation for the Tientsin for my reference source, please.
Okay.
Maybe I show something from my side. Something is I have showed to Andrew already, but I think it's quite interesting for that. Can you see? Can you guys see that, Andrew?
Not yet. No.
Yes, we can see it.
I'm trying to talk about a QEII time 1 cent postal envelope posting the local circular that received a T marking. It was text. This 1 cent imprinted stamp was cancelled by double ring Victoria c.d.s. 27th October 1902. Backstab with the large Canton index A. Next day arrival 28th. With a manuscript in blue 2.5. It means the postal deal for 2.5 centimes. Gold flans currency with a circle T marking. Furthermore, in manuscript with a 2 as a letter. It was texted. Andrew, you have anything to supplement to this circular?
Hmm?
You said
you can summarize what I think.
What?
I think it was just a drop letter. I think
you prefer this job letter. I prefer this the second scenario. It is including something
difficult to prove. Difficult to prove.
Difficult to prove. But anyhow, it is a text.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Then further, I would like to talk about the circular post, which are established in QEII time, which is a cool subject. I think not many one knowing or familiar with this topic. Actually, the bulk circular post was established in January 1888. The right side is the governor order in council to proclaim the establishment of the circular post. Okay, its requirement and condition is as follows: the rates is 1 cent each. The postage payment will be in would be in cash or charged to the sender's account with the TPO. The document that eligible for bulk circular mail will be circulars, dividend warrants, invitation cards. Patent should be patent. Bills, etc. for address in Hong Kong or ports of China. That means it is including ports in China. But no Macau. Macau is not included in the scope of this bulk local circular post. It should be sent in bulk quantity for at least 10 in numbers, in uniform size and weight. The weight requirement, the limit will be 2 ounces for circulars, not existing 2 ounces for circulars, and not existing 4 ounces for patents. For the envelope containing patents, patents might be closed if the content nature already exhibit to the postal clerk or postmaster general. Then you can seal it. Because the patents may be including some samples like the vegetable seeds or rice or else. Therefore, if the envelope is not sealed, all the things will be dropping out. Therefore, they allow the patents to be sealed in the envelope, but you need to show it to the postal staff receiving the circular post. It is the requirement at the moment in time, 1888, January. Later on, in 1894, it laid down further regulations for the bulk mail circular post. GPO will open a special window or special counter for the circulars. A logbook called the circular post will be kept for records of a circular post. A senior postal clerk would keep under lock and key a paid stamp. That means it is the circle paid hand stamp. It's a Webb type X or plow type PD23 to indicate the receiving of a 1 cent postage. Please pay attention that this circle the pay hand stamp was also known on official covers of government, but in black inking, black. For those that appear on the circular post, the inking used will be red inking. but with an isolated example in black inking on letters and postcard, 3 records. Below, I show you something, actual example. It is the earliest recorded bulk mail circular with the circle paid in red inking. Recorded in March 3rd, 1891. It is stemless. There was no 1 cent stamp at the moment in time, therefore they used the pay hand stamp. Interestingly, well, it seems the hand stamp was in use a few years ahead of the above 94 regulations. That means it is shortly immediately after 1888, the establishment of the local bulk mail. They need a device to indicate that the mail was prepaid, because the regulations required it was 1 cent paid in cash, prepaid in cash. This is another scale circular to China, also to Canton, in 1897. In 1900, 12 years after the establishment of the local bulk mail circular rates, it is the first time for the GPO to issue the 1 cent yellow stamp in printed postal stationery envelope for that purpose. GPO have no intention to issue the 1 cent postal stamps. 1 cent postal stamps only appear in King Edward VII period, not in QE period. It is a 1903 November GPO postal stationery envelope 1 cent, mailing to a vessel piling in the port of Hong Kong. As mentioned earlier, that there was a record of 3 examples, isolated example, using the circular paid hand stamp on non-circular posts, but in black inking. It is one of the circular. One of the postcards, 2 postcards recorded. Not on my hand, but in a fellow collector's hand. Is quite a famous one. Another I have showed to you before, that it is a cover to Sweden, also with the pay hand stamp struck on. It is the only known cover in that way, but I have no idea why it happened in that way. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Any question on the floor?
Thank you. Yes, excellent. But be careful, as actually we had a private WhatsApp about the postal station particularly. There were a lot of philatelic items in those days, not commercial. So anything could happen to them. Whether I collect Russian postal stationery around that time, and there are a lot of them are philatelic, especially going to Europe, Germany, etc. So odd things actually happen to them. So sometimes don't interpret things as is. What you see may not be the actual practice at that time. It may not be. I mean, it's just that some of these things, the rate may not be correct, etc. They look philatelic. I mean, by the writing and and then you probably, if you do a research on the recipient, you probably find out that he's either maybe a great collector of the time or a dealer or whatever. Anyway, you know, that's the one of this. It's a very nice collection that you have, and yeah, we will never find out actually whether that Postage due 1 cent stationery cover is actually a drop letter, or actually it's a bulk mail with illegitimate content, you know. Anyway, yes, it's a nice item. Anybody got any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Without further ado, I think Harmon, have you fixed your problem?
No, but if you will bring up the your introductory screen for the meeting, two of the items that you displayed.
Right. Okay.
Were two of my four that I was going to show.
Okay, let me see where it is.
You're always there to bail me out.
No. Okay. Let me see. I'm not sure I can bail you out this time. I'm going to find out where it is. Where's my introduction thing? Let me see. Right. Speaker. Okay. Same problem before.
And then if it's possible for you to blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to find. I tried to find where the thing was. I had it somewhere. Okay. Right. Let me find out where it is. Maybe I'll see where I can get it. Right. So yeah, I remember what you have. You have a Shanghai registered cover with a Shanghai BPO label. Correct?
Yes, very much like the, just like the Hang Cow has one that's a label that's printed and glued.
That's right.
Onto the cover. I found one in an auction many years ago, and some gentleman by the name of Andrew told me that I should get it authenticated. Well, I never did.
Did I? Not me.
It's been sitting in a book of stuff to do research on for a long time, and I've never gotten around to doing it, but I thought we'd take today's opportunity to see if anybody has ever come across another registered label from Shanghai instead of having a hand stamp.
Yeah. Okay. The other one you've got is a Russian postal stationery card, a 4 kopeck Russian stationery postal stationery card with a Port Arthur single ring c.d.s without a year, right?
Yeah, I can't remember because you don't have it on the screen yet.
I don't seem to be able to get it on screen. You see, right? Because
well, if we don't have it, we can do. I'll try to do a better job of getting it all. Sorry, folks.
That's a problem.
Flights. The first flight for the Penang feeder service for the IA mainline routes between UK and Australia and reverse was on 27th of March 1936, and if you look on eBay any day of the week, you will see very many first flight covers. Everyone sent first flight covers on these things. There's some destinations which are a little bit more rare, some African countries, Middle Eastern countries, but I have a very small collection of these ones to America via London. The route itself is in the top right-hand corner. It went to Penang, of course, and then onward to Croydon. And for the American ones, they were transferred to Southampton and taken on the Cunard ship Aquitania to New York. This example is to New York, where it arrived at its destination on the 15th. I mean, this is a philatelic cover from famous Grasser and Company. There was no published rate for sending your letter to America via London, but we can surmise that it was 70 cents for a half-ounce rate. The way that they worked it was they combined the airmail rate and the surface mail rate, as I've shown here. So the airmail rate was 50 cents per half ounce, and the surface mail was 20 cents for the first ounce and 10 cents thereafter. So if you had a half-ounce letter, it was 70 cents, like this one, and a 1 ounce letter was $1.20, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this rate was only in force until the 1st of June of 1936. So it only applied to 10 flights, 10 mails. So this is one. This is another one, a registered one that went on the same flight that went to Pittsburgh. Again, it went on the Aquitania. The sender, Shollo, was a big collector. His mate, Mr. James Starr, is very well known. But the rate here is should be $1.40, which is $1.20 plus 20 cents registration. But he actually put $1.60. So it wasn't fully understood what the rate was, because this would imply 70 cents a half ounce times 2 plus the registration.
Richard, another possibility is they're prepaying for onwards air transmission within the USA.
Possibly, yes. But then it only says by ordinary mail to USA.
To the USA, yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I take the point, yes. So that went on the Aquitania 2. And here's another one, same correspondence with $1.60 again. So they all went on the first flight. So I thought it'd be quite fun to try and get one on the second flight. So here it is. This one went on the second flight, feeder flight from Hong Kong to Penang on the 3rd of April. And then went through to Croydon again. And then from Southampton to New York, it went on, again, the Cunard ship, Berengaria, which arrived on the 21st of April in New York. And then I'm assuming, irrespective of the fact that it says Airmail New York to California, that it actually was carried by train. And I think I'm not 100% sure whether it would have arrived within 24 hours or a little bit longer to California.
Again, those two red bars, Richard, show Airmail ceased from London, so that was.
Yeah, that's my assumption. Duncan, yeah. Yeah, so that's why I think it went by train. Why it went by train, irrespective of the annotation in the top left. And here again, it was 70 cents. So if this person thought you could pay an extra 20 cents to have it go airmail within America, I'm not so sure whether that fits in. But It's interesting. It's very interesting. So that's the first 2 flights out of Hong Kong. There you go.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Is Harmon there? Right, okay. I actually found my slide. There you go.
Can you blow that up a little bit so they can see it?
Yeah, okay. Right, let me see. Let me just go put it on.
So the cover on the left is the Shanghai BPO registration label that I acquired many years ago. I'd like to just know if anybody else has ever seen one, so that I can have a little more comfort that it was not something that was contrived, even though the cancels on the Hong Kong stamps are registered Shanghai, and there's a registered Hong Kong double line c.d.s on the reverse.
You know what?
Makes me feel a little bit better about it, but I'm still not clear.
Is it 05? I think it's 05.
I can't see it from here.
I think it's 05. Well, I don't know. I think is that the only one known with the label?
Any comments from anyone?
Is it the only one known?
Help me.
Label? I just wonder whether actually it must belong to, because the extra 9, the 1549, the 9 is actually tied to the cover. No, I just wonder whether somebody cut the label off with another cover and grafted it there. Yeah, obviously not, because the 9 is actually tied to the cover.
But was it customary to have a hand stamp of the registration hand stamp, even though there was what was customary at the time?
Yeah, there was a time where there was no registration cachet. There was just the just the envelope. Yeah, but there was pre-cachet. I'm sure this looks all right because the 9 is actually tied. When it's not tied, I mean, one wonders. You could actually, cut off the cachet and from another cover and put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Okay, and then the other cover on the far right, you were going to talk about that being a Russian postcard.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Anything interesting about the route?
You're talking about the route, right? Okay. Rather than the Port Arthur date stamp. Okay. Well, obviously it was sent by Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yes. No. But actually,
where was it going?
Huh? It's going to.
Where was it going?
Yeah. Boulevard. Is that French?
I see Paris in there on the second line.
You said France, Paris. On the second line.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, what my focus was actually on the Port Arthur date stamp, which has no year slug, which where here and here you should have year slug. But this actually happened the same with Tientsin. Tientsin didn't have the year slug, and it was like 2 blobs. Actually, what happened was the post office did not have enough 19 and 00 slugs. So it was only 1899, and then that's it. So they couldn't actually put anything in there. So that went on. In Tientsin, it went on for several years without the year slug. So it's probably the same case with Port Arthur.
Okay, so that's a Port Arthur cancel?
They were supplied with 18, say 98, 1899, and then nothing for 1900. So they didn't have the slugs, therefore they couldn't put it. Yeah. Right, okay, it's very interesting.
Right. Well, thank you for bringing those up. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Maybe we can work something out next time. Oh, I see Sam Chew. Sam Chew is actually here. Sam Chew is in London. Sam?
Oh. Guys,
Hi.
Fly
Hi.
there tonight.
I fly out tonight, so
Huh?
hi.
Where are you?
Yeah, I have a one-frame exhibit at Port Arthur before 1903, 1904.
Uh-huh.
I have to double check. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How's London, Sam?
I'm not there yet. I'm flying tonight.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
flying tonight.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
If the flight leaves because we're in a rainstorm, snowstorm here, so.
Okay, right. Okay. Good. Fine. So, right. Anybody got any comments?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew, for helping me out on that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. Well, if that's the case, and I think those were you in London, please try to go and support the exhibition. And for the others, we'll meet next month, and we'll think of something to discuss. If you want another show and tell, or Charles will start talking about from Amoy to Wei Highway every month. Yeah. Anyway, well, thanks for bearing with me and with the technical problems, and have a nice morning, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you next month. Okay.
Andrew, may I suggest that you find a way to communicate next month's meeting to the people who are visiting today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I can see
Give
a couple
them
of
your
guys.
email address and correspond with them and put them on your list.
Yeah, sure. I can do that. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Harmon. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's good night for me, and have a nice, happy day, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.